Welcome back to the Chronicle. Tonight we step into the shadows of the past to explore the sleep of King Arthur, focusing specifically on the mist-shrouded Isle of Avalon and the eternal peace of the waiting king. Before we descend into the history, take a moment for yourself. Settle into your space, find a position of absolute comfort, and take a deep, slow breath. Let the weight of the day fall away. You are safe, you are still, and you are ready to travel through time. As we begin, I invite you to share in the comments which corner of the world you are listening from and what the hour is for you right now. If this sanctuary aids your rest, please consider subscribing, but only if the content truly resonates with you. Now, let us leave the haste of the modern world behind. We begin our exhaustive exploration of the sleep of King Arthur. The story begins in the aftermath of noise, in the profound and heavy silence that settles over the world when a great age comes to a close. You find yourself standing on the shore of a vast, calm lake in the west of Britain. It is the hour of twilight, that magical threshold between the day and the night, when the world holds its breath. The sky above is a canvas of deep, bruised purple, fading into the indigo of the coming dark, while the surface of the water reflects the last, lingering streaks of gold from the setting sun. The air is cool and still, carrying the scent of damp reeds and the mineral tang of fresh water. Breathe, smell, cool. You can hear the gentle lap of the water against the pebbles at your feet, a rhythmic, soothing sound that washes away the memory of the battles that came before. Lap, hush, lap. There is no violence here, only a sense of deep, melancholy peace. The king is weary, his armor heavy upon his shoulders, but his spirit is light, for the sword has been returned to the depths, and his duty is finally done. He stands at the water's edge, looking out into the gathering mist, waiting for the arrival of the vessel that will carry him to his rest. The birds have fallen silent in the trees, and the wind has died down to a whisper. The world is waiting with him. From the center of the lake, emerging silently from the veil of white mist that hovers over the water, a dark shape appears. It is a barge, long and slender, draped in heavy black samite that trails in the water like ink. It moves without oars or sails, propelled by a magic older than the stones of the earth. As it draws closer, gliding with the smooth, inevitable grace of a black swan, you see that it is occupied by three figures. These are the queens of the other world, the guardians of the passage, come to claim their brother and their king. They stand tall and regal, their faces obscured by the deep hoods of their cloaks, but their presence radiates a calm, protective power. The barge touches the shore with a sound no louder than a sigh. Touch, drift, calm. The queens step forward, their movements fluid and synchronized. They do not speak, for words are too heavy for this place. They reach out with hands that are pale and luminous in the twilight, lifting the king from the hard earth. He seems weightless in their arms, as if the burdens of his reign have already been stripped away. They place him gently onto the deck of the barge, upon a bed of soft furs and embroidered cushions that smell of lavender and dried rosemary. Settle, soft, rest. You watch as they arrange his cloak, smoothing the fabric with gentle, maternal gestures. The king closes his eyes, his breathing slowing to match the rhythm of the water. He is safe now. He is no longer the defender of the realm, but a passenger on the journey home. The barge turns slowly, its prow cutting through the glass-like surface of the lake, and begins to drift back toward the mist. You watch it go, a dark silhouette against the fading light, carrying the hope of Britain into the shadows. The shore recedes, the trees become blurrier, and the silence deepens. The transition has begun. The king is leaving the world of men and entering the world of myth. As the barge moves further from the familiar shore, the air grows thicker and cooler. The travelers are entering the great mist, the boundary that separates the mortal realm from the Isle of Avalon. It is not like any fog known to sailors or shepherds. It is a living, breathing entity, a wall of white silence that swallows sound and light. The sky above disappears, replaced by a luminous, pearl-grey void that seems to stretch on forever. The water below turns to a mirror of the mist, so that the barge appears to be floating in a cloud, suspended between the air and the deep. Float, drift, suspend. The sense of direction vanishes completely. There is no north or south here, no east or west, only the forward motion into the unknown. The passage of time becomes fluid and strange. It feels as though they have been sailing for minutes, and yet also for centuries. The beating of the king's heart slows to match the timeless rhythm of this place. The mist dampens every sound, wrapping the travelers in a blanket of hush. The only sound is the soft hiss of the prow, cutting through the water, a sound like a long, slow exhalation. Hiss, glide, quiet. In this white world, the mind is stripped of its daily clutter. The king's thoughts, which have been racing with the strategies of war and the burdens of rule, begin to unspool. The faces of his knights, the map of his kingdom, the weight of his crown, all of these things drift away like leaves falling into a stream. He is entering a state of deep, suspended animation. The pain in his body recedes further, replaced by a numbness that is not unpleasant, but rather like the feeling of sinking into a warm bath after a long winter journey. He feels a profound sense of safety. The mist is a shield, hiding him from the eyes of the world, protecting him from the ravages of time. He is hidden. He is secret. He is safe. Slowly, imperceptibly at first, the quality of the light begins to change. The impenetrable white of the mist starts to thin, transforming into a translucent, shimmering gold. A breeze touches the king's face, carrying a scent that is sweet and rich and achingly familiar. The scent of apple blossoms, warm honey, and sun-drenched grass. Smell, sweet, warm. The mist parts like a curtain being drawn back by an invisible hand, revealing the destination. Rising from the glassy water is an island of impossible green. This is Avalon, the Insula Pomorum, the Isle of Apples. It is a place that exists outside of the turning of the seasons, where spring and autumn coexist in a perfect eternal harmony. The hills are soft and rolling, covered in emerald turf that has never known the bite of frost. The trees are heavy with fruit, golden apples and red, shining like jewels in the strange amber light that bathes the land. Shine, gold, green. The barge approaches a small, sheltered cove where the water is clear as crystal, revealing the white sand of the seabed far below. Willows weep their long green branches into the water, creating a canopy of shade along the bank. The air here is warm and still, filled with the humming of bees and the song of birds that have no names in the mortal world. There is a profound sense of peace that radiates from the land itself, a vibration of deep geologic rest. It is a place where nothing dies and nothing decays, where everything is held in a state of perfect ripe fullness. The barge comes to rest against a jetty of white stone, touching it with a gentle thump. The journey across the water is ended. The queens rise, their movements graceful and synchronized. They prepare to disembark, to carry their precious burden onto the soil of the Blessed Isle. The king opens his eyes briefly, taking in the vision of the green hills and the golden light. He feels the tension of his life finally truly leaving him. Here there is no betrayal. Here there is only the garden, the orchard, and the sleep. The queens lift the king from the barge, carrying him with a strength that belies their slender forms. They walk up a path strewn with white petals, leading away from the water and into the heart of the island. The grass is soft and cool beneath their feet, springing back instantly as they pass, leaving no trail. They carry him to a great hall built not of stone, but of living trees that have woven their branches together to form a high, vaulted roof. The light inside is dappled and green, filtering through the leaves like sunlight through stained glass. Filter, green, cool. In the center of the hall lies a bed carved from the wood of a single ancient oak tree, draped in linens woven from spider silk and moonbeams. They lay the king down upon this bed. It conforms to his body, supporting every weary limb, every aching joint. One of the queens, the Lady Morgan Le Fay, steps forward. She is the healer, the mistress of the island. She removes the last of his bandages, her hands moving with the precision of a master surgeon and the gentleness of a mother. She washes his wounds with water from a sacred spring that bubbles up in the center of the orchard, water that sparkles with a blue inner light. As the water touches his skin, the scars begin to fade, the broken bones knit together, and the fever vanishes. But this is not a quick healing for a return to battle. It is a slow, deep healing for a long sleep. She anoints his forehead with an oil that smells of valerian and hops. "Sleep now, brother," she whispers, her voice like the rustling of leaves. "The world will turn without you for a while. Rest in the hollow of the hill. Wait for the call that may not come for 1,000 years." The king lets out a long, final sigh. His eyelids flutter and close. The breath leaves his body in a slow, steady rhythm. He sinks past the level of dreams, past the level of memory, into the deep, dark, restorative silence of the earth. He is suspended in the amber of time. He is the once and future king, but for now he is simply the sleeping king. The chamber where the king lies is a marvel of natural architecture, a cathedral, grown rather than built. It is formed from the living trunks of 9 great willow trees, their bark silver and smooth as ancient parchment. These trees have bent their weeping branches inward, weaving them together in a complex living knotwork to create a vaulted ceiling that is both shelter and canopy. Through the gaps in the leaves, a soft filtered light descends, bathing the king in a perpetual, aqueous green glow. It is the light of a forest floor, cool and dim, where the sun never strikes directly but only touches the world with a gentle, diffused hand. Filter, glow, cool. The air in the chamber is distinct from the air outside. It is richer, heavier with oxygen, and scented with the resin of the willow and the damp moss that carpets the floor. In the center of the room, near the foot of the bed, a small spring bubbles up from the earth. It does not rush or splash, but emerges with a steady, rhythmic pulse, feeding a small pool lined with white quartz stones. Pulse, flow, clear. The sound of the water is a continuous low-frequency hum, a white noise that mimics the sound of blood rushing in the womb. It is the heartbeat of the island. This water, the water of life, creates a fine mist that hangs in the air, keeping the king's skin moist and cool, preserving him in a state of perfect, unaging stasis. He breathes this mist in, and with every inhalation, the dust of the battlefield is washed from his lungs, replaced by the pure, verdant essence of Avalon. The silence here is profound, broken only by the water and the occasional settling of the living wood. It is a silence that commands rest, a silence that has weight and texture, wrapping around the sleeper like a second skin. He is safe within the wood. Outside the chamber, the Isle of Avalon stretches out in its eternal, unchanging glory. This is the land of the non-time, where the linear progression of hours and days has no dominion. Here, the apple trees that give the island its name, Insula Avalonis, are locked in a permanent state of simultaneous blossom and fruit. The branches are heavy with spheres of gold and red, shining with a waxen luster, yet white petals also drift down from the canopy like fragrant snow. Blossom, fruit, drift. Nothing here rots. When a fruit falls, it does not decay into brown mush. It simply dissolves into a sweet golden vapor that feeds the roots from which it came. The grass is a vivid, impossible emerald green, soft as velvet, and it does not grow tall or shaggy, but remains perfectly cropped by the grazing of invisible spirits. The light is neither dawn nor dusk, but a golden meantime, a warm, honey-colored afternoon that stretches on forever. There are no shadows here, for the light seems to emanate from the air itself, suffusing every leaf and blade of grass with an inner radiance. Glow, shine, radiate. The temperature is fixed at the point of perfect comfort, warm enough to require no cloak, yet cool enough to keep the mind clear and the body at rest. It is a climate designed for preservation. The seasons of the mortal world, the biting frost of winter, the scorching heat of summer, are barred from entry. Here, the earth is always kind. Here, the wind is always gentle. Here, the king is held in the palm of a benevolent nature that asks for nothing but his presence. It is a garden of suspension, a terrarium of peace, where the weary soul can unspool its burdens without fear of the dark. The island breathes with him, a single organism of rest. Around the sleeping king, the three queens maintain their silent, eternal vigil. They do not sleep as mortals sleep, for they are of the Tylwyth Teg, the fair folk, and their needs are different. They sit upon carved stools of white ash wood, their posture upright yet relaxed, their hands resting in their laps. They are statues of patience. Morgan le Fay, with hair as black as the space between stars, watches the king's face for the slightest flicker of pain, ready to smooth it away with a touch. The Queen of Northgalis, fair and tall, watches his breathing, counting the slow rise and fall of his chest, ensuring the rhythm remains unbroken. The Queen of the Wastelands, veiled and mysterious, watches the air itself, guarding against any intrusion from the spirits of the deep. They communicate without words, a shared consciousness that flows between them like a subterranean river. Occasionally, one will rise to tend to the environment of the room, adjusting the drape of the linen sheet, removing a fallen leaf from the floor, or dipping a silver cup into the spring to moisten the king's lips. Their movements are liquid and soundless. They do not disturb the air, they move through it. Their robes, woven of dark blue and purple silk, rustle softly like the wings of moths. Rustle, move, watch. They are the sisters of the mist, the midwives of the long sleep. They have abandoned the courts of the world to be here, in this quiet room for as long as the sleep requires. Whether it be a decade or a millennium, their watch will not waver. They are the anchors that hold the king to the island, the tether that keeps him safe in the harbor of dreams. They are the stillness in the center of the turning world. Beyond the shores of the island, the great mist acts as a formidable, impenetrable barrier. It is the Veil of Avalon, a magical separation that hides the isle from the maps of men. To the outside world, this area is nothing more than a treacherous marshland, a place of fogs and shifting tides where ships lose their way and compasses spin wildly. The mist absorbs all sound from the mortal realm. The clash of armies, the ringing of church bells, the shouting of market crowds, all of these chaotic noises strike the wall of the mist and are silenced instantly. Absorb, silence, block. Inside the barrier, the silence is pure. It is a filtration system for reality. Only the sounds of nature, the call of the curlew, the lap of the water, the sigh of the wind, are allowed to pass through. The mist also distorts time. A century in the world of men might pass as a single day in the golden light of Avalon. Kings rise and fall, empires crumble to dust, stone castles are built and erode away, but in the chamber of the willow trees, Arthur has barely turned over in his sleep. He is insulated from history. He is preserved in amber. The worries that plagued him, the Saxons, the betrayal of Lancelot, the fall of Camelot, have been filtered out, left behind in the cold, hard world of iron and stone. Here, there is no iron. Here, there is no stone. There is only the soft, yielding organic matter of the earth and the water. The mist wraps the island in a blanket of forgetfulness, a white void that erases the past and postpones the future, leaving only the eternal, peaceful now. It is a fortress of cloud, protecting the seed of the future. Deep within the sleep, the king's connection to the land begins to change. He is no longer just a man sleeping on a bed. He is becoming part of the geology of the island. His heartbeat synchronizes with the slow tectonic pulse of the earth below. Thump, pulse, sink. His breath becomes the breeze that stirs the willow leaves. His blood flows with the same rhythm as the spring water in the basin. He is rooting down. He is the bear of Britain, Artos hibernating in the deepest cave of the soul. The distinction between his physical body and the bed of living wood begins to blur in the spiritual sense. He draws strength from the oak beneath him, absorbing its solidity and its endurance. He draws fluidity from the water nearby, learning how to yield and flow. He draws light from the air, storing it in his bones for the day he must wake. This is not the sleep of death, it is the sleep of accumulation. He is a battery charging slowly over aeons. The scars on his body have faded to thin white lines, maps of old campaigns that no longer matter. His face, once lined with the cares of state, has smoothed into the untroubled countenance of a youth. He looks not like a king who has died, but like a king who is waiting. He is suspended in the gap between breaths, in the pause between heartbeats. The earth holds him gently, cradling him in its gravity, spinning slowly through the cosmos, protecting its precious cargo until the stars align for his return. He is safe. He is still. He is the anchor of the isle. The sleep is deep and the dream is long. Surrounding the central sanctuary of the island lies the Great Lake, a vast expanse of water that serves as the moat of the gods. The surface is smooth as polished obsidian, undisturbed by wind or tide, reflecting the sky with such perfect clarity that it is impossible to tell where the air ends and the water begins. Reflect, smooth, deep. This is the domain of the Gruged Anwan, the lake maidens, spirits of the water who tend to the aquatic gardens beneath the surface. They move through the depths like currents, their forms fluid and shifting, weaving the underwater weeds into patterns of protection. Occasionally, a white arm will break the surface, not to grasp or to drown, but to place a water lily upon the glass, a votive offering to the sleeping monarch. The only ripples are those made by the swans of Avalon, birds of immense size and snowy whiteness, who wear collars of gold and glide silently over the deeps. Glide, silent, white. They are the sentinels of the perimeter. They do not call out with harsh cries, but communicate in soft musical trills that sound like wind chimes in a breeze. The water itself is infused with the magic of the isle. It is warmer than mortal water, and heavy with healing minerals. If a traveler were to dip their hand in, they would feel a tingling warmth spreading up their arm, easing the ache of joints and the stiffness of age. It is the amniotic fluid of the earth, holding the island in a warm, suspended embrace. The lake absorbs the light of the sky and holds it, glowing faintly from within, so that even if the stars were to go out, the water would still shine. It is a boundary of light. It is a circle of safety. Far beneath the surface of the lake, resting in the silt of the lake bed, lies another sleeper. It is the great sword, Excalibur. It was cast back into the water by the reluctant knight Bedivere, caught by the lady of the lake and drawn down into the deep. Now it rests in a sheath of living green weed, half buried in the white sand. Rest, wait, deep. The water here is still and silent. There is no rust on the blade, for it was forged in the other world and is immune to the corrosion of time. The steel gleams with a faint blue luminescence, lighting up the dark water around it like a fallen star. The hilt, set with precious stones of red and gold, remains as bright as the day it was forged. It is not lost, it is merely stored. Just as the king sleeps in the Willow Chamber, the sword sleeps in the water. They are two halves of a whole, separated by the elements but connected by destiny. The fish of the lake, ancient carp with scales like armor, swim around the blade, treating it with reverence. They know it is not a weapon of war. but a symbol of the land's power. It waits for the hand that can wield it. It waits for the need that is great enough to call it forth. Until that day, it sleeps in the cold, clear dark, a silent promise of strength that will return when the world is ready. The connection between the king and the sword vibrates through the water, a low-frequency hum that keeps the heart of the island beating. Back on the island, the golden light of the eternal afternoon begins to deepen into a luminous twilight. It is not the darkness of night, for true dark never touches Avalon, but a softening of the gold into a rich, velvety lavender. Soften, dim purple. The apple trees seem to glow with an inner fire, their fruit shining like lanterns in the dusk. The white petals that carpet the ground become phosphorescent, creating a pathway of starlight on the grass. The air cools slightly, becoming crisp and refreshing, perfect for the deepening of sleep. The three queens draw their cloaks closer around them, their silhouettes merging with the shadows of the willow trees. The night bloom begins. Flowers that only open in this twilight hour unfurl their petals, releasing a scent of jasmine and evening primrose that is heavier and more sedative than the scents of the day. Bloom, scent, heavy. This perfume fills the chamber, acting as a natural anesthetic for the spirit. The mist outside the window thickens, pressing against the glass like a soft white animal seeking warmth. The world is wrapping itself in layers of comfort. The king's breathing deepens further, shifting into the slow tidal rhythm of deep hibernation. He is sinking down through the layers of consciousness, past the dreams of men, past the dreams of kings, into the dreams of the earth itself. The island is tucking him in. The sky is a blanket of soft violet light. The water is a cradle of glass. Everything is designed to hold him. In this profound state of suspension, the king begins to dream. But these are not the chaotic, fragmented dreams of a mortal mind. They are the great dreams of the land. Because he is the king, and the king is the land, his consciousness expands to encompass the island of Britain itself. In his sleep, he feels the roots of the oak trees in the forest of Dean as if they were his own toes digging into the soil. Root, dig, hold. He feels the flow of the River Severn as his own blood rushing through his veins. He feels the granite weight of the Welsh mountains as the bones of his back. He is aware of the snow falling in the highlands and the sun shining on the downs. He is the consciousness of the geography. He feels the slow erosion of the coastline and the slow growth of the forests. It is a peaceful, godlike perspective. He is no longer concerned with the petty squabbles of lords or the borders of kingdoms. He is concerned with the health of the soil, the purity of the water, and the turning of the seasons. He watches the centuries pass like clouds drifting across the sky. He sees stone circles raised and fallen. He sees forests cleared and regrown. He sees the fires of industry light up and fade away. He is the silent witness, the bedrock of the nation. This dream connects him to every living thing in the land. He is the silence in the deep woods. He is the stillness in the high peaks. He is the sleep that nourishes the world. Let us pause here, at the threshold of the deep dream. You too have traveled a long way to reach this island of the mind. You have left the noise of your own battles behind on the shore. You have crossed the misty water and found the sanctuary of the green hills. The image of the sleeping king is a mirror for your own need for rest. Just as the queens watch over him, imagine that the spirit of this story is watching over you. You are safe here, in the chamber of the willows. The air is cool and smells of healing herbs. The light is dim and golden. The water bubbles softly, washing away your stress. Wash, flow, clean. You do not need to be a king or a queen to deserve this peace. It is the birthright of every living creature. You are allowed to lay down your burden. You are allowed to let the sword fall from your hand. You are allowed to close your eyes and drift away. Feel the mattress beneath you supporting your weight, just as the earth supports the king. Feel the blanket covering you, just as the mist covers the island. There is no hurry to wake up. There is no urgency to return. The world will wait for you. For now, there is only the mist and the water and the peace. You are drifting, you are sinking, you are safe. The story continues, but you can rest now. The watch is set. The gate is barred. The night is yours. Sleep. In the depths of the isle's slumber, a subtle transformation begins within the chamber of the willow trees. The light, which has been a steady, dappled green, shifts into the silver blue of a moonlit night, though no moon is visible through the canopy. Shift, silver, cool. It is the ghost light of Avalon, a gentle luminescence emitted by the mosses and lichens that cling to the ancient bark. These tiny plants glow with a soft, pulsing rhythm, mimicking the breathing of the sleeping king. Pulse, glow, breath. The air grows cooler still, carrying the crisp scent of night-blooming jasmine and the earthy tang of damp fern. Outside, the mist thickens, wrapping the hall in a dense, protective blanket of white silence. The sounds of the day, the hum of bees, the trill of birds, fade away entirely, replaced by a profound, expectant hush. It is a silence so deep it feels like a physical pressure against the eardrums, a soothing weight that presses down on the eyelids. The queens, sensing the shift, draw their cloaks tighter. Morgan Le Fay reaches out and places a hand on the king's brow, her touch cool as river water. She whispers an incantation in the old tongue, a series of fluid, sibilant sounds that weave into the very fabric of the air. Weave, whisper, protect. The words are not for waking, but for deepening. They are designed to guide the spirit further down, past the dreams of men, past the memories of war, into the bedrock of the earth itself. The king's breathing slows even more, becoming almost imperceptible. He is sinking into the geological time of the island, becoming as still and as patient as the stone beneath the soil. As the king sinks deeper, his consciousness expands outward, connecting with the elemental forces of the land. He feels the slow, grinding movement of the tectonic plates far below, the deep, rhythmic shifting of the earth's crust. Grind, shift, deep. He feels the flow of the underground aquifers, vast rivers of silent, dark water moving through the limestone caverns. Flow, dark, silent. He feels the roots of the ancient oaks reaching down through the soil, drinking in the minerals of ages past. He is becoming the land itself. The boundaries of his physical form dissolve. His spine is the ridge of the mountains, his veins are the rivers, his breath is the wind moving through the high passes. He is no longer Arthur the man, he is Artos the bear, the spirit of the wild, hibernating in the great cave of the world. In this state he is aware of the passing of seasons, not as days or weeks, but as slow, rhythmic pulses of energy. He feels the quickening of spring as a tingling in his nerves. He feels the heat of summer as a warm, golden pressure. He feels the decay of autumn as a sweet, heavy sadness, and he feels the stillness of winter as a deep, white sleep. He is the witness of the cycles. He is the memory of the earth. He holds the knowledge of every harvest, every storm, every sunrise within his dreaming mind. He is the keeper of the law, preserving the wisdom of the land until it is needed once more. Above ground, the cycle of life on Avalon continues in its enchanted stasis. The apples on the trees ripen but never fall. The flowers bloom but never wither. It is a garden frozen in the moment of perfect fruition. But there are visitors to this realm, spirits who come to pay homage to the sleeping king. From the depths of the forest, the great stag emerges. He is a creature of immense size, his antlers spanning wide like the branches of an oak, draped in moss and ivy. Emerge, majestic, silent. He walks with a slow, deliberate grace, his hooves making no sound on the soft turf. He approaches the willow hall and stands at the entrance, bowing his great head in reverence. His dark, liquid eyes hold the wisdom of the ancient woods. He is the guardian of the forest, the spirit of the hunt that has laid down its spear. He stays for a long moment, breathing in the scented air of the chamber, acknowledging the presence of the king. Then, as silently as he arrived, he turns and melts back into the shadows of the trees. Following him come the badgers of the Brochelon, stout and solemn creatures with coats of grey and white. They are the earth movers, the builders of the underground. They sit on their haunches outside the hall, chittering softly to one another in a language of clicks and purrs. Click, purr, watch. They are the keepers of the deep earth, ensuring that the foundations of the island remain strong. They too pay their respects before returning to their burrows. The king is never truly alone. He is surrounded by the life he swore to protect. The mist that shrouds Avalon is not merely a weather phenomenon. It is a living entity with its own consciousness. It acts as a filter, protecting the sanctity of the isle from the intrusion of the modern world. Outside the barrier, the centuries roll by with frantic speed. Castles rise and fall into ruin. Armies march and are forgotten. Cities of glass and steel replace the villages of wattle and daub. The noise of the world grows louder. The roar of engines, the hum of electricity, the clamor of voices, roar, hum, chaos. But none of this reaches the king. The mist absorbs it all, turning the cacophony into a gentle, distant hum like the sound of the sea in a shell. It transforms the harsh, jagged energy of the outside world into a soft, rolling wave of peace. Inside the mist, time is viscous, thick like honey. 1,000 years pass like a single afternoon. The king does not age. His hair does not grey. His skin does not wrinkle. He is held in a bubble of timelessness. The queens, too, are untouched by the passage of years. They are as ageless as the stars. They weave their magic into the mist, strengthening it, renewing it, ensuring that the veil remains intact. They know that the world is not yet ready for the king's return. The wound of the land is not yet deep enough to require the ultimate healing. And so, they wait, they watch, they protect. Let us now descend with the king into the very heart of his slumber. Imagine yourself lying beside the pool in the Willow Chamber. The air is cool and moist, filled with the scent of damp earth and green leaves. Breathe, cool, damp. You can hear the slow, steady drip of the water into the basin. Drip, pause, drip. It is a hypnotic rhythm, a metronome for sleep. Let your own breathing synchronize with this sound. Inhale for the drip. Hold. Exhale for the silence. Inhale. Hold. Exhale. Feel the weight of your body sinking into the floor of the chamber. The moss is soft and yielding beneath you, conforming to your shape. You are heavy. You are grounded. You are safe. The queens are watching over you, their presence a comforting shadow in the corner of your mind. The mist is wrapping around the building, sealing you in. There is nothing to do here but rest. There is no quest to complete. There is no battle to fight. The sword is in the lake. The crown is in the vault. You are simply a weary traveler who has found sanctuary. Let the image of the green light wash over you, soothing your eyes, calming your mind. Let the sound of the water wash through you, cleansing your thoughts. You are drifting. You are floating. You are asleep in Avalon. The passage of time on Avalon is not measured in years, but in the slow respiration of the earth. Seasons bleed into one another. Spring blossoms coexist with the ripe apples of autumn, and the lush green of summer never fades into the brown of winter. Bloom, ripen, green. It is a state of perpetual, suspended abundance. But outside the mist, in the world of men, centuries roll by like storm clouds. Castles rise from the stone, towering and proud, only to crumble back into the dust under the weight of rain and ivy. Rise, crumble, dust. Great forests are cleared by the axe, their wood fueling the fires of industry, only to slowly reclaim the land when the people move on. The landscape of Britain changes its face 1,000 times. The Roman roads are overgrown, replaced by winding lanes, then by canals, and finally by ribbons of grey tarmac. The air fills with the smoke of coal, then the hum of electricity. Yet through all this frantic transformation, the Isle of Avalon remains a fixed point, a silent anchor in the churning sea of history. It is the dream that the land is having about itself, a dream of what it was before the noise, and what it might be again. The king sleeps through the Viking raids, the Norman conquest, the Wars of the Roses. He sleeps through the Industrial Revolution and the great wars of the modern age. To him, these are but flickering shadows on the wall of his cave, brief disturbances in the deep, geological peace of his rest. Occasionally, the barrier of the mist thins, allowing a rare, sensitive soul to glimpse the island. A shepherd on a lonely hill, a poet wandering in the twilight, a child lost in the woods. They might catch a fleeting scent of apples on the wind, or hear the distant echo of a silver trumpet. Scent, echo, glimpse. These are the thin places, where the veil between the worlds is worn sheer. For a moment the grey reality of their lives is overlaid with the golden light of Avalon. They feel a sudden, inexplicable sense of longing. Hiraeth, the Welsh word for a homesickness for a place you have never been. Longing, home, ache. They might see a shimmer on the water that looks like a barge, or a shape in the fog that resembles a high green hill. But if they try to approach, the mist thickens instantly, swirling in confusing patterns, turning them back toward the mortal world. The island protects itself. It is not a place for the living, but a reservoir for the spirit. These glimpses become legends, stories told by the fire on winter nights, keeping the memory of the king alive in the hearts of the people. They whisper of the once and future king, the Rex Quandam Rexque Futurus, a promise that one day when the need is direst, the mist will part and the king will return. But for now, the legend is enough. The hope is enough. Deep within the Willow Chamber, the three queens continue their silent ministrations. They are the keepers of the king's physical form, ensuring that entropy does not touch him. Morgan Le Fay moves with a fluid grace, her dark robes rustling like dry leaves. She holds a silver chalice filled with the water of life. Rustle, pour, life. She dips a cloth of fine linen into the water and gently wipes the king's brow, his hands, his feet. The water is cool and smells of ozone and petrichor, the scent of the earth after rain. It keeps his skin supple and his joints flexible. The Queen of North Gallis tends to the bed itself. She fluffs the pillows stuffed with down from the swans of Avalon, ensuring the king's head is perfectly supported. She smooths the sheets woven from moonbeams, removing even the smallest wrinkle that might disturb his rest. Smooth, soft, support. The Queen of the Wastelands maintains the spiritual atmosphere. She hums a low, resonant note that vibrates in the air, a standing wave of sound that acts as a shield against nightmares. It is a sound felt more than heard, a deep thrum in the chest that promotes deep delta wave sleep. Hum, vibrate, shield. Together they create a perfect environment of stasis. They are the ultimate caretakers, their love for their brother transcending the bounds of time and mortality. Let us focus now on the water that surrounds the island, the Great Lake. It is a body of water unlike any other. It is deep, so deep that no plumb line has ever found the bottom. Deep, silent, vast. In its depths, it holds the memories of the land. Every sword thrown into a lake as an offering, every coin tossed into a well for a wish, every tear cried into a river, all of these eventually find their way here, carried by underground currents to the heart of Avalon. The lake is a repository of emotion. It is the subconscious of the nation. The water is heavy and still, moving only with deep, slow currents that circulate the magic of the isle. Fish of ancient lineage swim here, great pike with moss growing on their backs, carp as old as cathedral. As you lie in your own bed, imagine that you are floating on the surface of this great lake. The water is warm and supports you completely. Float, warm, hold. You are weightless, Suspended between the starry sky and the deep water, the mist swirls gently around you, softening the edges of the world. You can hear the faint rhythmic breathing of the sleeping king echoing from the island. Breathe, echo, peace. Let this rhythm guide your own breath. Inhale, hold, exhale, rest. You are safe here. The water holds you up. The mist hides you from the world. There are no demands on your time. There are no messages to answer. There is only the gentle rocking of the water and the deep silence of the night. You are part of the legend now. You are a sleeper in Avalon, waiting for your own renewal. Let the tension drain out of your muscles and flow into the water. Let your thoughts dissolve into the mist. You are drifting toward a deep restorative sleep, guided by the queens, protected by the lake, watched over by the stars. Drift, sink, sleep. The story pauses here, in the quiet dark, waiting for you to rest. Within the sanctuary of the Willow Chamber, the atmosphere is governed by a rhythm far slower than the heartbeat of a man. It is the rhythm of the sap rising and falling in the ancient trees that form the walls. Rise, fall, slow. The king's body has attuned itself to this botanical pace. His breathing is so shallow and infrequent that a mirror held to his lips would barely cloud. Yet the life force within him is strong and steady, burning with a low blue flame like the heart of a coal fire buried under ash. Burn, steady, deep. The queens, in their long vigil, have ceased to perceive time in minutes or hours. To them, the watching is a single, continuous moment of devotion. They mark the passage of existence not by the sun, for the light here is constant, but by the subtle shifts in the island's energy. They feel the distant vibration when a new oak tree takes root in the forest. They feel the soft tremor when a swan glides across the lake. Tremor, glide, feel. They are the sensory organs of the slumbering king, filtering the world for him, ensuring that only peace reaches his mind. The mist outside acts as a second skin, a permeable membrane that allows the necessary ether to pass through while blocking the jagged static of human history. The wars of the roses, the clash of steel, the roar of cannons, all are reduced to a faint rhythmic thrumming, like the sound of rain on a distant roof. It is a lullaby of chaos, transformed into order. The king sleeps through the turning of the kaleidoscope, his face serene, his hands relaxed, his spirit wandering the quiet paths of the internal garden. He is the stillness at the center of the turning world. Let us observe the bed upon which the king lies, for it is a marvel of natural craftsmanship. It is not merely a piece of furniture, but a living extension of the grove. The 4 posts are not carved timber, but 4 living saplings that have grown up from the floor, their bark smooth and silver grey, cool to the touch. Grow, smooth, cool, their branches arch overhead, weaving together to form a canopy of leaves that rustles softly with every breath of air, creating a natural noise machine of white sound. Rustle, weave, hush. The mattress is a deep, yielding bed of sphagnum moss and dried heather, gathered from the high moors of the other world. It smells of peat and wild thyme, a dark, earthy scent that grounds the sleeper. Over this is laid a sheet of byssus, the sea silk woven from the filaments of giant mollusks, a fabric so fine it feels like water against the skin. Touch, fine, water. And covering the king is a heavy quilt of dark green velvet, embroidered with threads of real gold that trace the constellations of the winter sky. It is heavy, providing the deep pressure stimulation that calms the nervous system and signals safety to the body. Weight, warmth, safety. This bed is a cocoon, a nest built by the land to protect its most precious inhabitant. It holds him securely, absorbing any tremors from the earth, insulating him from the cold, and wrapping him in a permanent embrace of comfort. He sinks into it, and it rises to meet him, blurring the line between the sleeper and the bed. Let us observe the bed upon which the king lies, for it is a marvel of natural craftsmanship. It is not merely a piece of furniture, but a living extension of the grove. The 4 posts are not carved timber, but 4 living saplings that have grown up from the floor, their bark smooth and silver grey, cool to the touch. Grow, smooth, cool. Their branches arch overhead, weaving together to form a canopy of leaves that rustles softly with every breath of air, creating a natural noise machine of white sound. Rustle, weave, hush. The mattress is a deep, yielding bed of sphagnum moss and dried heather gathered from the high moors of the other world. It smells of peat and wild thyme, a dark, earthy scent that grounds the sleeper. Over this is laid a sheet of byssus, the sea silk woven from the filaments of giant mollusks, a fabric so fine it feels like water against the skin. Touch, fine, water. And covering the king is a heavy quilt of dark green velvet, embroidered with threads of real gold that trace the constellations of the winter sky. It is heavy, providing the deep pressure stimulation that calms the nervous system and signals safety to the body. Weight, warmth, safety. This bed is a cocoon, a nest built by the land to protect its most precious inhabitant. It holds him securely, absorbing any tremors from the earth, insulating him from the cold, and wrapping him in a permanent embrace of comfort. He sinks into it, and it rises to meet him, blurring the line between the sleeper and the bed. The air in the chamber is filled with a unique fragrance, the breath of Avalon. It is a complex, layered scent designed to induce the deepest levels of trance. The top note is the sweet, crisp smell of apples, the pomorum, which hang heavy on the trees outside. It is the smell of harvest, of fruition, of the earth giving its gifts. Smell, crisp, sweet. Beneath this lies the scent of the water mint that grows along the stream, a sharp, cooling aroma that opens the airways and clears the mind. Deeper still is the bass note of damp oak leaves and rich, dark soil, the smell of the forest floor, of decomposition and rebirth. Earth, damp, deep. And weaving through it all is the faint metallic tang of the mist itself, a clean, ozone smell like the air after a thunderstorm. This olfactory blend is a powerful sedative. Every time the king inhales, the scent triggers the ancient parts of his brain that govern rest and recovery. It signals to his body that it is autumn, the time of hibernation, the time to slow down and store energy. You too can imagine this scent. Breathe in the phantom smell of apples and rain. Inhale, apple, rain. Let it fill your lungs and cool your throat. Let it settle in your chest, heavy and relaxing. It is the perfume of peace. It is the aromatherapy of the gods. As the cycle of the non-time turns, the ghost light in the chamber begins to pulse with a slower frequency. This marks the beginning of the deep watch, the period corresponding to the darkest hours of the mortal night. The queens bow their heads, entering a state of shared meditation. The water in the spring slows its bubbling to a mere trickle. Trickle, slow, hush. The silence deepens, becoming absolute. It is a vacuum of sound, sucking away the last vestiges of thought. In this silence, the king's spirit detaches completely from the surface world. He sinks into the subterranean dream, a state of consciousness shared with the roots of the mountains and the beds of the oceans. He feels the weight of the rock above him, not as a burden, but as a blanket. He feels the pressure of the earth, not as a trap, but as a hug. Weight, blanket, hug. He is safe in the dark. He is held by the gravity of the planet. There is nowhere to fall. There is nowhere to go. There is only the sensation of being held. This is the ultimate security. This is the peace that passes all understanding. It is the peace of the stone. It is the peace of the deep water. It is the peace of the end of the story. You are invited to join him here in the deep, dark, comfortable silence. Let go of the ledge. Let go of the rope. Sink down into the soft, welcoming dark. You are safe. You are sleeping. You are Avalon. Beyond the central sanctuary of the Willow Chamber, the landscape of Avalon extends in gentle rolling hills that seem to breathe with a life of their own. These are the hollow hills, ancient mounds covered in short, springy turf that smells of wild thyme and clover. Breathe, rise, fall. Beneath these green domes, it is said that the Tylwyth Teg, the fair folk, dwell in their subterranean halls. But on the surface, all is quiet save for the grazing of the white cattle of the other world. These are creatures of immense, ghostly beauty, with hides as pale as milk and ears tipped with red. They move slowly across the landscape, their large, dark eyes calm and unblinking. Graze, calm, white. They do not low or bellow, but communicate in soft, contented sighs that merge with the wind. As they graze, they crop the grass with a rhythmic tear-crunch-chew sound that is strangely soothing. It is the sound of peaceful industry, of life sustaining itself without struggle. They are the herds of the eternal summer. Occasionally, a calf will frolic in the golden light, kicking up its heels in a display of pure joy before settling down to rest in the shade of an apple tree. The king, deep in his slumber, is connected to these creatures. He feels their contentment as a warm, fuzzy sensation in his own chest. He feels the sun on their backs as a gentle heat on his own skin. He is the shepherd of the dream, watching over his flock from the deep sleep of the earth. Flowing through the valleys between the hills are the streams of Menemozine, the waters of memory. These are not like the muddy rivers of the mortal world, prone to flooding and drought. They are crystal clear, running over beds of smooth, colorful pebbles, red jasper, green serpentine, and white quartz. Flow, clear, smooth. The water sings as it moves, a melodic bubbling that sounds like distant laughter or half-remembered songs. It is the music of the island. Along the banks grow the flowers of forgetting, pale blue blossoms that release a scent of lotus and poppy. Bloom, scent, forget. To drink from these streams is to remember everything clearly, without the pain of loss. To smell the flowers is to let go of the grief associated with those memories. It is a landscape of emotional alchemy. The king drinks from these waters in his dreams. He remembers his knights, his queen, his kingdom, but the memories are washed clean of bitterness. He sees Lancelot not as a betrayer, but as a brother. He sees Guinevere not as a source of sorrow, but as a figure of light. The water purifies his history, turning tragedy into myth. It allows him to rest without regret. It allows him to sleep with a clear heart. The streams carry his burdens away to the sea, leaving him light and unencumbered. High above the island, the sky of Avalon is a masterpiece of celestial art. It is never truly dark, but shifts between the gold of the eternal afternoon and the deep luminous indigo of the star time. Shift gold, indigo. There are no clouds to obscure the view, only wisps of iridescent vapor that catch the light like spun sugar. In the star time, the constellations appear closer and brighter than in the mortal world. They are not distant suns, but patterns of living light, storytelling in the sky. You can see the Great Bear, Artos, circling the pole star, a celestial mirror of the sleeping king below. Circle, shine, watch. You can see the Lyre of Taliesin, a constellation that hums with a faint, high-pitched vibration. The moon is always full here, a great pearl hanging low over the water, casting a silver path across the lake that leads straight to the heart of the island. It is the moon of reflection, a mirror for the soul. Its light is cool and healing, bathing the land in a monochromatic peace. The king feels this light penetrating the roof of the Willow Chamber. It touches his eyelids, bringing dreams of silver and silence. It regulates the tides of his blood, pulling gently on the fluids of his body in a rhythmic, tidal massage. Pull, tide, heal. He is a creature of the moon as much as the sun. He is balanced between the two lights, held in a perfect equilibrium of rest. In the orchards of Avalon, the apple trees stand as ancient sentinels of wisdom. Their trunks are gnarled and twisted into fantastic shapes, covered in velvety moss and crusty lichens of gold and grey. Twist, moss, age. These are not trees that were planted. They are trees that have always been. They are the Avalon, the source of the island's magic. The apples they bear are not ordinary fruit. They are the golden apples of the sun and the silver apples of the moon. To eat one is to cease aging, to be healed of all sickness, and to gain the understanding of the language of birds. Eat, heal, no. But the king does not need to eat them. He absorbs their essence through the air, through the soil, through the very fabric of the dream. The trees drop their fruit with a soft thud onto the mossy ground, a sound that marks the slow heartbeat of the orchard. Thud, drop, beat. The fallen apples do not rot, but slowly dissolve into a sweet golden mist that feeds the roots. It is a closed loop of nutrition. The trees feed the king, and the king's presence feeds the trees. They are symbiotic. The wind rustling through the leaves sounds like 1,000 voices whispering secrets of the past and future. Rustle, whisper, secret. It is a library of whispers. The king hears them all, weaving them into the tapestry of his long sleep. He is the listener in the orchard. Let us return to the sensation of the mist itself, the veil of Avalon. Imagine it as a physical substance, soft and cool like damp cotton wool. Soft, cool, damp. It wraps around the island, muffling the sharp edges of reality. It acts as a lens, diffusing the light so that there are no harsh shadows, only soft gradients of grey and gold. Diffuse, soft, grey. It dampens sound, turning a shout into a whisper and a crash into a thud. It creates a sound shadow where silence can flourish. Inside the mist, the air is heavy with moisture, hydrating the skin and lungs. It feels like breathing in a cloud. Breathe, cloud, heavy. This moisture carries the magical properties of the lake and the orchard, delivering them directly to the blood. It is an aerosol of enchantment. For the king, the mist is a blanket that is always being tucked in. It moves and shifts around the Willow Chamber, swirling in slow, hypnotic patterns that mesmerize the eye. Swirl, shift, hypnotic. If you watch it long enough, you can see shapes forming and dissolving. Knights on horseback, castles in the air, ships sailing on a white sea, but they are just phantoms of the mist, harmless and beautiful. The mist is the dream made visible. It is the canvas on which the sleeping mind paints its visions. It holds the king in a soft, white embrace, protecting him from the glare of the sun and the cold of the void. He is safe in the cloud. He is hidden in the white. In the depths of the Willow Chamber, the cycle of the non-time begins to turn towards its deepest point. This is the hour of the great stillness, a time when even the leaves on the trees cease their gentle rustling, and the water in the spring slows to a silent, glassy pool. Still, silent, deep. The queens, sensing this profound shift, bow their heads lower, their breathing becoming almost imperceptible. They are entering a state of hibernation alongside their charge. The ghost light of the moss dims to a faint rhythmic pulse, like the beating of a distant drum. Pulse, dim, faint. The air grows heavy and rich, saturated with the scent of the sleeping earth. It is an atmosphere so thick with peace that it feels like a physical blanket pressing down on the skin. The king sinks further into the mattress, his body becoming heavy as lead, his consciousness dissolving into the very fabric of the island. He is no longer a man sleeping in a room, he is a stone sleeping in a riverbed. He is a seed sleeping in the winter soil. He is a star sleeping in the velvet dark of space. Stone, seed, star. He has reached the bottom of the well of rest. There are no dreams here, no memories, only the pure, unadulterated existence of being. It is a state of absolute potential, a 0 point from which all future strength will spring. Let us imagine the sensation of this deep sleep. It is not the unconsciousness of exhaustion, but the conscious surrender to gravity. It is the feeling of being held by something vast and benevolent. Held, surrender, vast. The king feels the earth rising up to support him, molding itself to every curve of his body. He feels the air wrapping around him like a second skin, cool and protective. Wrap, cool, hold. He feels the water of the lake cradling the island in its liquid arms. He is the center of a concentric series of embraces. The bed holds him, the room holds the bed, the island holds the room. The lake holds the lake, and the universe holds the mist. It is an infinite regression of safety. Circle, hold, safe. There is no fear of falling, for there is no fear of exposure, for there are no gaps in the armor of the night. The king is safe, you are safe, the world is safe. Let go of the need to hold yourself up. Let the muscles of your neck and shoulders release their tension. Let your spine lengthen and relax. You are supported. You are carried. You are loved by the earth that made you. As the king sleeps, the island of Avalon dreams through him. It dreams of the ancient forests that once covered the land, dark and deep and filled with magic. Dream, forest, dark. It dreams of the wild rivers that carved the valleys, rushing and tumbling to the sea. Rush, tumble, wild. It dreams of the mountains that scrape the sky, stoic and silent in their granite grandeur. Scrape, silent, stone. These dreams are not fleeting images, but deep, resonant feelings. The king feels the strength of the oak in his bones. He feels the fluidity of the river in his blood. He feels the endurance of the mountain in his spirit. He is absorbing the archetypes of the land. He is becoming the landscape of the soul. When he wakes, he will not just be a king of men, he will be a king of nature, a ruler who understands the language of the wind and the wisdom of the stone. But for now, he is simply the vessel, filling slowly with the essence of the earth. He is the cup that runneth over. He is the grail that holds the blood of the land. The mist outside the chamber begins to swirl with a new, gentle energy. It forms soft white shapes that drift through the air like clouds in a slow-motion storm. Swirl, drift, white. These are the spirits of the mist, elemental beings who guard the boundaries of the island. They have no faces and no names, only forms of vapor and light. Vapor, light, form. They move around the Willow Hall in a silent dance, weaving patterns of protection in the air. They are the sentinels of the sleep. They watch for any disturbance in the ether, any ripple of discord from the outside world. If a dark thought or a sharp noise tries to penetrate the veil, they catch it in their misty nets and dissolve it into nothingness. Catch, dissolve, nothing. They are the ultimate noise-cancelling system. They ensure that the king's rest remains unbroken. They ensure that your rest remains unbroken. Imagine them floating around your own bed, soft white clouds absorbing your worries, catching your fears, turning them into mist. Absorb, catch. They are your guardians for the night. Trust them to keep the watch. Trust them to keep the silence. We have journeyed deep into the heart of the legend, down through the layers of mist and water to the stillness at the center. We have seen the king on his bed of living wood, watched over by queens and stars. We have felt the peace of the island seeping into our bones. Deep, still, peace. Now, as we approach the final phase of the chronicle, let us anchor this feeling in the body. Feel the weight of the king's sleep in your own limbs. Feel the coolness of the Willow Chamber on your own skin. Feel the slow, rhythmic pulse of the spring in your own chest. Wait, cool, pulse. You are connected to the story. You are part of the legend. The island of Avalon is not just a place on a map. It is a state of mind. It is the place you go to when you close your eyes and let go of the world. It is the sanctuary that is always waiting for you. The king sleeps there, and so can you. The mist is rising, the water is calm, the night is here. In the deepest hours of the non-time, a stillness settles over the Willow Chamber that is more profound than any silence known to the waking world. It is the great quiet, a state where even the atoms seem to pause in their ceaseless dance. Pause. Quiet. Deep. The king lies suspended in this void, his breath a phantom wisp of vapor in the cool air. His connection to the physical plane is now tenuous, a silver thread of life connecting him to the beating heart of the island. Connect, silver thread. He has become a being of pure potential energy, a coiled spring waiting for the release of the ages. The queens, too, have entered a trance-like state, their eyes closed, their hands resting motionless in their laps. They are statues of devotion carved from shadow and moonlight. Statue, shadow, devotion. The water in the spring has stilled to a mirror-like perfection, reflecting the green canopy above with absolute clarity. Reflect, clear, it is a tableau of perfect preservation. Nothing moves, nothing changes, nothing decays. It is a moment frozen in amber, held outside the flow of entropy. The king is safe here, protected from the ravages of time and the chaos of history. He is the seed in the winter earth, waiting for the spring that will one day come. Outside the sanctuary, the mist thickens, wrapping the island in a cocoon of white silence. It swirls around the trees, softening their outlines until they are nothing more than ghostly shapes in the gloom. Swirl, soft, ghost. It muffles the sound of the wind, turning it into a distant whisper. It dampens the light of the stars, creating a diffuse, pearlescent glow that bathes the land in mystery. Dampen, glow, mystery. This is the veil of forgetfulness, a magical barrier that separates Avalon from the memories of the world. Inside the veil, the past has no power. The battles of Camlan, the betrayal of Mordred, the sorrow of Guinevere, all are forgotten here, dissolved into the mist like tears in rain. Dissolve, forget. Peace. The king sleeps without dreams of war. He sleeps without the weight of the crown. He sleeps simply as Arthur, the man who was and will be. The mist grants him the gift of oblivion, a respite from the burden of destiny. It is a kindness, a mercy granted by the land itself. It allows him to rest fully, to heal completely, to prepare for the future with a clean slate. Let us imagine the sensation of this forgetfulness. It is not an emptiness, but a lightness. It is the feeling of setting down a heavy pack after a long journey. Light, set, down. It is the feeling of unbuckling armor that has chafed and constricted. Unbuckle, release, free. It is the feeling of washing away the dust of the road in a cool stream. Wash, cool, clean. The king feels this lightness spreading through his body, unknotting muscles, soothing nerves, calming the mind. He is floating in a sea of peace, untethered from the anchors of his past. Float, peace, untether. You too can experience this lightness. Imagine your own worries dissolving into the mist. Imagine your own burdens being lifted from your shoulders by invisible hands. Dissolve, lift, free. Let the mist wrap around you, soft and cool and comforting. Let it hide you from the demands of tomorrow. Let it grant you the gift of forgetfulness for this night. You are safe in the cloud. You are hidden in the white. As the cycle of the night turns toward the dawn that never truly comes, a subtle shift occurs in the energy of the island. The ghost light in the chamber begins to pulse with a slightly faster rhythm, signaling the approach of a new phase of sleep. Pulse, shift, deep. This is the dream of renewal, a time when the body begins to rebuild itself from the inside out. The king's cells are regenerating, knitting together bone and sinew with the magic of the earth. Regenerate, knit, magic. His blood, infused with the essence of the apple blossom and the spring water, flows through his veins like liquid gold, carrying vitality to every corner of his being. Flow, gold, vitality. He is not just resting, he is becoming stronger. He is absorbing the power of the land, storing it in his marrow for the day he must wake. It is a slow, patient process, like the growth of a stalactite in a cave. Slow, patient, grow. It cannot be rushed. It requires the deep, uninterrupted silence of the ages. The queens sense this renewal and smile in their trance. They know that their brother is healing. They know that the king will return. We have walked the path to the heart of the legend. We have seen the king in his Willow Chamber, the sword in the lake, the mist on the hills. We have felt the peace of Avalon seep into our own bones. Deep peace, bone. Now, let us anchor this feeling in the body for the final time. Feel the weight of the king's sleep in your own limbs. Weight, sleep, heavy. Feel the coolness of the Willow Chamber on your own skin. Cool skin. Soothe. Feel the slow, rhythmic pulse of the spring in your own chest. Pulse, chest, slow. You are connected to the story. You are part of the legend. The island of Avalon is not just a place on a map. It is a state of mind. It is the sanctuary that is always waiting for you. The king sleeps there, and so can you. The mist is rising. The water is calm. The night is here. Let go of the ledge. Let go of the rope. Sink down into the soft, welcoming dark. You are safe. You are sleeping. You are Avalon. Deep within the cellular fabric of the sleeping king, a miraculous process of restoration is taking place. It is not merely the healing of wounds, but the golden joinery of the soul. Heal, gold, join. Imagine a vessel of porcelain that has been broken now being repaired not with glue, but with veins of pure liquid gold. The queens, through their silent magic, are pouring this golden light into the fissures of his spirit. Pour, light, fill. They are knitting together the frayed edges of his exhaustion, turning the weariness of a lifetime into a new, resilient strength. The king feels this as a warm, tingling sensation that starts in the center of his chest and spreads outward to his fingertips and toes. Tingle, spread, warm. It is the feeling of becoming whole again. It is the feeling of the scattered pieces of the self returning to the center. The anxiety of the throne, the weight of the crown, the grief of the betrayal, all are being transmuted by the alchemy of Avalon into wisdom and peace. He is being reforged, not in the fires of a smithy, but in the cool green quiet of the willow grove. The process is slow and gentle, like the growing of a pearl around a grain of sand. Slow grow, pearl. Layer by layer, the pain is covered in iridescence. Layer by layer, the man is becoming the myth. He lies there, a masterpiece in progress, held in the patient hands of the earth, waiting for the final polish that will signal his readiness to return. High in the branches of the ancient apple trees, the birds of Rhiannon begin their spectral song. In the legends, it is said that these three birds can sing the dead to life and the living to sleep. Tonight, their song is strictly for the sleepers. Sing, sleep, soft. It is a melody that exists on the very edge of hearing, a high, sweet trill that vibrates in the pineal gland, stimulating the production of dreams. It is not a song of notes, but of frequencies, pure sine wave tones that cancel out the discordant noise of the mind. Tone, clear, peace. The king hears it as a silver ribbon winding through the darkness of his rest. It guides him deeper, past the shallows of REM sleep into the dark, soundless ocean of delta waves. The song tells him that the borders are secure. It tells him that the land is green. It tells him that the people are safe. There is no need to wake. There is no need to rise. The song is a lullaby of permission. Permission to let go. Permission to be weak. Permission to be still. Let go, be weak, be still. The birds do not fly. They sit motionless among the golden fruit, their throats trembling with the magic of the tune. They are the broadcasters of the signal of peace. Their song covers the island like a soft, invisible net, catching every worry and turning it into a musical note that fades into the mist. The concept of the once and future king is not a burden to the sleeper. It is a profound comfort. It implies a cyclical nature to existence, a promise that the end is never truly the end, but merely a pause before a new beginning. Pause. Wait. Cycle. The king rests in the not yet. He knows that his time will come again, but he also knows with absolute certainty that it is not today. Not today. Wait. Rest. This knowledge is the ultimate release. He does not have to be vigilant. He does not have to scan the horizon for threats. The prophecy acts as a sentry, standing guard over time itself. It ensures that he will only be called when the need is absolute. Until then, he is off duty. He is on the longest leave of absence in history. He can enjoy the luxury of the deep wait. It is like the feeling of a seed lying in the frozen earth of January, knowing that it does not need to sprout until May. Seed, earth, wait. There is no rush. The earth moves at its own pace. The stars turn in their own time. The king is synchronized with the slow, majestic clock of the universe. He is resting in the gap between the ticks of the cosmic second hand. It is a vast, spacious silence where nothing is required of him but to breathe and to be. As you listen to the chronicle of the sleeping king, imagine that you are being invited into the order of the sleepers. You are an honorary knight of Avalon, tasked not with fighting, but with resting. Honor, rest, night. Your duty tonight is to mirror the king. Just as he lies in the Willow Chamber, you lie in your own bed. Just as he is supported by the moss, you are supported by your mattress. Mirror, support, bed. The mist that covers the island is extending its reach, flowing across the oceans of time and space to fill your room. Can you feel it? It is a coolness on your cheek. It is a softness in the air. Cool, soft air. It is wrapping you in the same protective cocoon that holds Arthur. You are connected to him by the shared rhythm of your breath. Inhale, imagine the king inhaling. Exhale, imagine the king exhaling. Inhale, sink, exhale. You are drawing on the same source of peace. You are drinking from the same cup of silence. The boundaries between your room and the Isle of Avalon are dissolving. You are there, in the green light, safe and hidden. You are part of the legend now. You are guarding the peace of the world by finding peace within yourself. Sleep is your service. Rest is your quest. The heavy velvet curtain of the final sleep is beginning to fall. The narrative is winding down, its threads coming together in a soft knot of silence. Wind, knot. The barge that brought the king to the island is now waiting for you at the edge of your consciousness. It is rocking gently on the dark water, ready to ferry you away from the waking world. Rock, wait, ferry. Step onto the deck, lie down on the furs. Let the queens cover you with the cloak of night. You are leaving the shore of the day behind. The lights of the land are fading into the distance. The sounds of life are becoming a meaningless hum. Fade, hum, gone. You are drifting out into the vast, calm ocean of sleep. The water is smooth as glass. The mist is white and thick. There is no direction here, only the gentle rocking motion of the boat. Rock, drift, deep. You are safe. You are held. You are loved. The king sleeps. The sword sleeps. The island sleeps. And now you sleep. Let the darkness take you. Let the silence fill you. Let the story end. Although the narrative of the king has reached the shores of silence, the essence of Avalon remains with you, a permanent landscape of the mind. The specific details of the island, the green hills, the golden apples, the mist, begin to blur at the edges, softening like watercolor paint left out in the rain. Soften, blur, fade. What remains is not a sequence of events, but a texture, a frequency of being. It is the frequency of deep, abiding shelter. You can summon this feeling at will. Imagine that the chamber of willow trees is not merely a place in a story, but a room within your own heart that you can enter whenever you wish. In this room, the walls are always thick enough to keep out the noise of the world. In this room, the roof, though made of living leaves, protects you from all harm. In this room, the spring is always bubbling, a fountain of white noise that washes away stress and tension. Bubble, wash, clean. You carry this sanctuary with you. It is lighter than air, weightless and invisible. yet it provides a protection stronger than steel. It acts as a buffer, slowing down the rush of time, filtering the harsh light of reality through a screen of green leaves and white mist. You are never truly far from the island. You are never truly far from the peace of the king. The moss has taken root in your mind, cushioning your thoughts, softening the hard edges of the day. Let us now allow the image of the island sanctuary to merge completely with your immediate physical reality. Let the boundaries between the story and the sleeper dissolve. Imagine that your bed is the bed of the king. The mattress is no longer made of modern materials, but of deep velvet moss, soft, yielding, and endlessly supportive. Sink, yield, support. It contours perfectly to your body, holding you in a gentle embrace like the earth holding a stone. Imagine that the ceiling of your room is the vaulted canopy of the willow trees, solid and protective, etched with the patterns of leaves against the moonlight. In the darkness, you can almost sense the weight of the branches, a comforting heaviness that anchors you to the earth. Branch, protect, anchor. Imagine that the walls of your room are the ancient trunks of the trees, standing guard around you, silent sentinels that have watched over the sleep of creatures for 1,000 years. You are protected by the history of the earth itself. You are hidden in the deep green heart of the grove. The sounds of your home, the settling of the house, the distant traffic are transformed by this visualization. They become the sounds of the island, the rustle of the wind in the leaves, the lap of the water on the shore, the murmur of the mist. Everything is woven into the tapestry of the journey. You are safe here, you are hidden, you are at rest. The island exists in a state of eternal patience. It does not rush, it does not worry, it simply is. It follows the slow geologic rhythm of the ages. As you lie here, drifting deeper, align your own internal rhythm with that of the stones of Avalon. Let your breathing become the tide moving in the lake, slow, steady, and continuous. Inhale, tide, exhale, flow. Let your heartbeat become the slow tick of the seasons, summer, autumn, winter, spring, a cycle that repeats without fail. Let your thoughts become the falling leaves, drifting down one by one, silent and soft, landing on the wet ground to melt away into nothingness. Drift, fall, melt. There is no need to hold on to them. Let them fall. Let the earth absorb them. The forest recycles everything. It turns old leaves into new soil. It turns weariness into strength. It turns noise into silence. You are part of this cycle. You are a natural creature, governed by the same laws as the oak tree and the swan. You have a right to rest. You have a right to stop walking. Tonight is your shelter. Tonight is your time to unburden the mind, to take off the armor, to let the world turn without you for a while. The king gives you permission to be still. You are as solid as the rock, as deep as the moss, as quiet as the stone. The chronicle of the sleep of King Arthur is drawing to a close. We have walked the path from the shore to the boat, across the misty water, and into the green heart of the island. We have sheltered under the willow trees and watched the world turn grey. We have found warmth in the earth and slept under the stars. These images are now part of your personal library of dreams. We begin the process of closing the book. We fold the map of the island, smoothing out the creases, and place it in the chest of memory. Fold, smooth, stow. We extinguish the lantern, watching the flame dwindle and die, leaving only a wisp of smoke and the memory of light. Dim, fade, dark. We close the heavy wooden door of the chamber, sliding the bolt home with a final satisfying thud. The narrative is finished. The words are fading. But the feeling remains. The cool, fresh feeling of the mist is still with you. The warm, heavy feeling of the earth is still with you. You can return to these feelings whenever you close your eyes. The island is not gone. It is simply waiting. It waits for you in the silence between thoughts. It waits for you in the pause between breaths. It is your eternal background, a landscape of peace that never changes. You are the traveler who has arrived. You are the guest who is welcome. You are the sleeper who is safe. As we enter the final phase of our journey together, bring your attention entirely to the sensation of heaviness in your body. It is a pleasant heaviness, like the feeling of sinking into warm water, supported and held. Heavy, warm, soft. Feel this weight settling into your legs, grounding them to the mattress. Your legs are the roots of the willow tree, sinking deep, holding fast. Feel the weight in your arms, resting by your sides. Your arms are the fallen branches, resting in the tall grass, perfectly still. Feel the weight in your eyelids. They are heavy curtains of velvet, drawn shut against the light. There is no effort required to keep them closed. Gravity does the work for you. Close, heavy, rest. The muscles of your face are smooth and relaxed, like a pebble polished by the stream. The tension in your jaw has melted away, like mist in the sun. You are a landscape of stillness. You are a geography of rest. The only movement is the gentle rise and fall of your chest, a slow tidal motion that rocks you deeper and deeper into sleep. Rise, fall, rock. You are drifting on a raft of comfort, floating down the river of the night, heading towards the ocean of dreams. The current is slow and gentle. It carries you away from the shore of the day, out into the vast starless sea of the night. You trust the water, you trust the dark, you let go. The silence in the room is total now, a physical presence that fills the space like a dark, heavy water. The world outside the room has faded away completely, dissolving into the mist of irrelevance. There is no traffic, no city, no time. There is only the darkness and the rhythm of your breath. Inhale, exhale, rest. You are deep, deep down. You are at the bottom of the ocean of sleep. It is quiet here and still. There is no pressure, no weight, no expectation. You are weightless. You are free. The journey of the island is over, but the peace remains. It is yours to keep, a hidden gem in the pocket of your mind. Imagine yourself as a smooth white stone resting at the bottom of the great lake of Avalon. The water above you is still. The light filtering down is dim and blue. You are immovable. You are ancient. You are at rest. The currents of the surface world cannot reach you here. The storms of the day cannot disturb you here. You are settled in the silt of silence. Settle. Sink. Rest. Sleep now. Sleep deep. The river flows on, and so do you. The night is your blanket, the earth is your bed, the stars are your guardians. You are held in the suspension of the void, perfectly preserved, perfectly safe. You are the anchor in the deep water, holding fast against the drift of the world. Good night to the noise. Good night to the haste. Though the story is finished and the book is closed, we linger for a moment longer in this space of transition. The candle has been extinguished, but the warmth of the flame remains in the air, a faint, comforting heat that touches your cheek. The room where we have sat together, the library of your mind, is settling into its own quiet rhythm. Settle, quiet, rest. The shelves, lined with the volumes of tonight's journey and the journeys of nights past, stand tall and protective in the shadows. They hold the memories of the mist, the water, the willow, and the green light, keeping them safe for you to revisit whenever you wish. You do not need to hold on to them now. You can let the details fade, the specific shape of the trees, the color of the apples, the sound of the barge. Let them all soften into a general feeling of well-being. Soften. Fade. You are no longer the traveler. You are the sleeper. The identity of the observer, which has been active for so long, can now be laid aside like a heavy cloak. You are simply a breathing presence in the dark. The silence of the room is not empty. It is a rich, heavy substance that fills every corner, muffling the world and wrapping you in safety. You are suspended in the amber of the night, perfectly preserved in a moment of calm. Let your awareness drift away from the imaginary world of the Willow Chamber and settle gently back into the physical reality of your bed. Feel the points of contact between your body and the mattress. Touch, support, hold. Feel the weight of your heels, your hips, your shoulders, and the back of your head. Gravity is a gentle hand pressing you down, grounding you, keeping you safe from floating away. The air in your room is cool and still. You might hear the faint settling sounds of your own home, the creak of a floorboard, the hum of a refrigerator, the rustle of the wind outside. Do not let these sounds disturb you. Let them be the anchors that hold you in this deep, restful state. They are the sounds of safety. They confirm that the world is stable and secure, allowing you to let go completely. Your breathing has found its slowest, most natural rhythm. Inhale, deep, exhale, slow. It is the breath of deep sleep, automatic and effortless. You are a vessel of peace, floating on the ocean of the night. There is nothing left to do. There is nowhere else to be. The past is a closed book. The future is a distant shore. There is only this eternal, silent now. You are exactly where you are meant to be. You are the king in his rest. You are the stone in the stream. As we prepare to leave this space entirely, imagine the last vestiges of the bardic presence fading away. The voice that has guided you through the mist is becoming softer, more distant, merging with the silence of your own mind. Soft, distant, merge. We step back from the bedside, moving quietly towards the door of sleep. We leave you surrounded by the protective walls of your rest. The lantern is out, the map is rolled up. The journey is done. You are alone, but you are not lonely. You are in the company of your own deep peace. The darkness behind your eyes is a vast velvet space, infinite and kind. It is the space where dreams are born. You are drifting deeper now, sinking through the layers of consciousness, like a stone sinking through a deep, dark pool. Sink, drift, deep, down past the thoughts of the day, down past the story of the hill, down into the bedrock of sleep. You are heavy, you are warm, you are safe. The connection to the waking world is stretching thin, like a thread of spider silk, about to break. You are ready to let go. You are ready to fall. The queens have ended their watch. The mist has closed over the island. You are safe in the dark. The final moment has arrived. The connection is breaking. The silence is total. The last word is spoken, and it hangs in the air for a heartbeat before dissolving into the quiet. Dissolve. Silence. You are fully asleep now, or on the very threshold, passing through the gate. The night watches over you. The stars turn slowly overhead. The river of time flows on, carrying you gently towards the morning. But for now, there is only the dark, and the rest, and the silence. The king waits in Avalon. The sword waits in the lake, and you wait in the gentle arms of sleep. There is nothing more to say. There is nothing more to see. The screen is dark, the mind is clear, the body is still. Sleep deep, sleep well. The story is over. Good night.